What is up, internet? JBroadway here with another sound design tutorial. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make a future house bass similar to Curbi, Chami, and Oliver Heldens. So, when you're listening to Oliver Heldens and especially Curbi, their basses, they just sound so gritty and dirty and juicy. They definitely have a very unique sound to them, and I'm going to show you how to make a bass like this using PhasePlant, because PhasePlant is my favorite synthesizer at the moment, and I honestly do think it is the best synthesizer on the market right now. That's right, even better than Serum. But we're not going to get into that whole debate. Let's just hop into the tutorial. Okay, so we're going to start with a wavetable. Just keep it at a sine wave, and then we're going to add a new group. We're going to call this one modulation, and then we're going to add another wavetable. Up here, let's actually rename this one to just main. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to click this green plus here, and we're going to right-click on the shift here, and we're going to modulate the shift. Give this maybe like 40%. So it sounds like this now. Also, what we're going to do is we're going to take the main sine wave here and bring this down an octave to -12 semitones. Next, we're going to add a envelope here. We're going to turn down the release all the way, turn down the sustain all the way, and then boost up the decay a bit here. Click the orange plus button, and then we're going to click this yellow asterisk right here to sidechain it at 100%. And then right away, we already have a very distinct bass sound, but we're not done yet, because what we're going to do over here is we're going to add some distortion. We're going to set it to saturate, and then we're going to create another envelope here. We're going to bring down the release all the way again, sustain, decay up a little bit, and we're going to modulate, or yeah, we're going to modulate the drive here, maybe at like 25%. Maybe bring it down a little bit. And then really the distortion really gives the sound a lot of characteristics. Okay, now that we have the main characteristic of the sound, we can just tweak some of the knobs to get it sounding a little bit more to what we like. So I'm going to bring down a little bit of the modulation on the shift here. Maybe tweak the decay here. And if you mess with this line right here, you can adjust the decay curve shape. Okay, this bass right now is sounding pretty good, but it sounds to me still a bit generic. One thing that we could do to give this bass a little bit more life and characteristic is to add in some massive wavetables to this. And I know particularly Curbi, he loves using massive, and he uses it regularly within his productions.
Loads of different synths here.
That's a lot of instances of Massive and Silent.
Massive is my go-to plugin. It's the bomb.
Okay, now you might be wondering, wait a second, this is PhasePlant though. Like, how are we going to layer massive sounds into PhasePlant? And the answer is you can actually load the massive wavetables into PhasePlant. Here, let's mute this, and let's add in another group here. Let's add in a wavetable and make sure we give it an output here. And then you can actually load in the massive wavetables here. If you scroll down to the bottom, you can add locations here. And if you don't have these, I just uploaded them to WeTransfer.com. So I'll have a link down in the description if you want to download all the massive wavetables. The massive wavetables in particular sound really good, and they can give your basses a lot of characteristics. Let's just scroll through this until we find one that we like. And as you can see, as I'm flipping through the different wavetables here, I'm also going through the different frames to see how the characteristic of the sound changes. Okay, so I really like this additive mix 3 wavetable. So what we're going to do is let's minimize some of these other envelopes. We're going to take the modulation here, click the plus button, and we're going to modulate the phase a little bit. Maybe turn down the volume a little bit. And then let's add another envelope here. Do the same thing, release all the way down, sustain all the way down, and then let's sidechain it. Clicking the yellow asterisk, and then clicking the plus button there. And then let's increase the decay. And then the decay curve. Just tweaking the sound ever so slightly to get the characteristic I'm looking for. Okay, next I'm gonna hold Alt and then give it a little bit of distortion. And we're gonna link the same envelope to the drive on the distortion. Let's also turn up the spread a little bit on the distortion. Okay, and here's where the secret sauce comes in. We're gonna take the semitone and bring this up to +7. So here's before. So bringing up our layer oscillator to 7 semitones, it just makes it sound a lot more full. It gives it a lot more character. It's sounding really good. Another thing we can do is we can turn on unison, turn up the spread and the detune a little bit. So that's sounding really good right now. Maybe try a different wavetable position. Another thing I want to do is I want to turn up the release a little bit and the release on the main oscillator too. Let's do it on the envelopes as well. So let's open up all of these and just turn up the release a little bit on each of these. All right, I got the release turned up to about 500, 400 milliseconds on these. And on the main oscillator, I have it set to 400 milliseconds. And on the layer oscillator, I have it set to about 130 milliseconds. Okay, this bass is sounding really good now. I could confidently save this as its own preset, and I would use this in some of my own tracks. Now, the nice thing about setting up sounds like this is once you have a sound figured out, all you can do is you just can go to your layer oscillator here and just flip through all the different massive wavetables, and you'll get completely different sounds. So let's do that too. So this sounds really cool. Maybe you say to yourself, okay, there's a little bit too much high end. All you have to do is hold Alt. Let's add in a filter underneath the distortion and just take out some of the higher harmonics. Then bring it in as you wish with the cutoff. Okay, another thing I could do here is I can add in another envelope. Let's bring down the sustain all the way, release, turn up the decay, and then we can modulate this cutoff right here. Bring this up to like maybe 70%. Give it a nice pluck sound, and then let's just increase the decay to our taste. Maybe up the Q and give it a little bit of release. And now what we could even do, if we want to make this sound even more complex, if you hold Control, you can click the layer here and duplicate it. So let's call this one layer 2. Let's mute layer 1. And then let's just flip through the wavetables and just give it another sound, you know? And let's also remove the modulation on the cutoff too. Let's also bring up the semitones 1 octave too. Maybe take out some of the high end. And now let's turn on layer 2, see how that sounds now. Okay, that sounds pretty bad, but let's bring down the Q here and just mix it in, you know, choose a different wavetable. All right, this is sounding really good. I'm using the camcord wavetable, and I also changed the filter to a bandpass instead of a low pass. Let's also turn up the spread too on the unison and maybe the detune down. Another thing we could do is we can even go back down to the modulation section and turn up the harmonic just to give the sound a little bit more characteristic. You know, it's ultimately up to you. You do whatever you think sounds best. Messing with this could sound kind of cool in some cases, bad in other cases. One thing we can do to finalize the sound, let's add in a multipass. Let's open this up, solo the low band here. Let's add in a stereo effect, and let's just turn down the width to 0%. So the low end of the sound is completely 100% mono. Another thing we can do, let's go to the high end. Maybe add a gain, just boost it a tiny bit, you know. And then in the middle here, we can add in ensemble. Maybe change this to random. And then bring the mix down to maybe like 30%. Oh yeah, another thing I forgot to mention is we can turn on glide. Let's turn on glide, give it like 100 milliseconds. That just gives it a little bit more character and sounds really cool. All right guys, well that's it for today's tutorial. I hope you learned something about PhasePlant and how to create some future bass sounds. Yeah, let me know in the comment section down below what other tutorials you'd like to see, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.